Yeah.
I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
Don't be scared. It's not Thursday yet. It's still Sunday. We have some time before the Rams game. So we are the CRM players on a very special Sunday occasion. We're spin.
Yeah. He's probably getting ready for the Rams game.
Oh no. Well, we did miss you guys Thursday so much that we had to come back and do a special show to announce something we think is special, I guess. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you want to just say it?
Go ahead, say it. You're the venerable Paul Greenberg. So
Oh, I get to do the venerable thing here. All right. So this is Sunday, September 25th. You will also see this video, the recorded version of this tomorrow, September 26th at noon, roughly, when we launch Playaz Productions Network, right? Which is okay. And you're looking at, give us a break here, but you're looking at a pre-launch version of the website for playazproductions.network, which as of tomorrow you can go take a look at and it'll be ready to roll. This is Brent and I a while back talked it through and decided, you know what, time to impact the industry, time to launch a series of shows, time to grow a digital broadcasting network that's influencer focused, that doesn't just go to enterprise technology or small business technology, but it actually gets to the human side of the people that we deal with every day. And as a result of that, starting tomorrow with Playaz Productions Network, we're launching 5 shows. I'd say 1, 2 already really kind of launched.
yeah. Let's do this. I actually broke it out for you so you could walk
Well,
us
you're
through. So this
kind.
is the flagship, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it would better be, or else we're not launching tomorrow. We're in real trouble. This, yeah, of course, CRM Play. What more do I have to say? You're literally watching it now, so you know who we are, right? So, and if you don't, all right, Thursday, 3 p.m. every week for the most part. Every week, you'll find us. We, as you know, cover the enterprise technology world, the small business technology world, throw in sports every now and then, and kind of have a good time with people from senior executives from the business world. And as part of our network, CRM Playaz will be the host of 2 different network specials. One, executive roundtables, which are essentially 5 senior executives talking about a topic of importance for roughly 2 hours, and then some follow-up analysts who come on and talk about what they heard, and CRM watch parties, which are, if we tried to do one at Dreamforce last week, didn't quite go the way we wanted, but the idea is very simple. Mystery Science Theater 3000 meets enterprise tech keynotes, right? And Brent and I, a couple of other analysts, we had Jesus Hoyos and Mike Fawcett with us on the Dreamforce attempt, will literally either love, eviscerate, or compliment or hate different parts of every keynote section of the actual morning major keynote. And they are fun. And then when we had the opportunity, we'll bring on a spokesperson from the company to talk to what they are promoting and how we responded. And then we bring on other analysts who may not be part of the initial team, but they'll be part of the second team who are coming on to give us a cogent analysis of what they saw. And all of that is CRM Playaz and the network specials associated with it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll do a quick. I'm literally going to take not even a few good minutes to describe what a few good minutes is, but basically, a few good minutes is something I've been doing for over 12 years. Hard to believe. Where I just have one-on-one conversations with movers and shakers and tech and SMB and what have you. Try to keep it 30 minutes or less, but what I consider to be really conversations about things, at least I find of interest, that I think maybe folks who are following the same stuff I do would be interested in as well. So I don't know exactly what day. I think it's Wednesdays or something like that. But I actually have a special one tomorrow. Maybe I'll talk about in a little bit. But a few good minutes every week, weekly, uh, right on the Playaz Production Network. Here's the next one.
All right. So this one, the first two you saw are well established. CRM Playaz for 13 years, a few good minutes for 12 years. So these are well established. We got global audiences. The next ones you're going to hear about are new. So this is Engage with Paul and Kenny, and I am co-hosting with Kenny Lauer, who used to be the head of marketing for the Golden State Warriors, is a CX thought leader, visionary, and practitioner who is one of the best I've ever run across, and actually is one of a major influence in that world, are co-hosting basically a late night talk show. So the idea is very simple, man. You have interests as business leaders or whatever you are that go well beyond business. Yet you're watching us probably because of business. Now, my audience tends to be B2B. Kenny's audience tends to be B2C. So, for example, in our first episode, we had Sridhar Vembu as the business leader in our second segment. And the third segment was the CEO of Zoho. And the third segment, we had Tyler Florence, who's the father of the food truck world. He's 25 years on Food Network, Oprah, all these other things, has 8 signature restaurants, is considered one of these celebrity chefs. And we had a fascinating discussion with him. We also have a dialogue that we opened the show with. We have a house band, Jane Blonde and the Goldfingers, which is the Elements.Cloud, a Salesforce partner, a band, and you're going to love it. It is, look, it's not Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. It's not Late Night with any of these other guys, but it is a late night talk show for the world of business and consumer both. This is straight audio podcast. We'll have a YouTube version of it, but it'll be just stuff you can sort of segment via YouTube. But this is me basically being an industry analyst. And the segments are straightforward. The first segment is whatever the hell I want to talk about. It could be news. It could be of the week or the month. It could be an experience that is important with universal consequences and universal, let's say, potential solutions to it. It could be something that that is of importance when it comes to a concept. But ultimately, the first segment is kind of the news and everything else. Segment 2 is where I go straight to a company, or potentially even people, but a company, and start doing what industry analysts do about companies. Right now, the series will follow the winners of the watch list and why they won. Segment 3 is called the People's Playbook, right? And what that is, that's why you should be doing X and how you can do X. Step 1, 2, 3. Here are 5 things you can do that will help you with whatever X is. So that's the People's Playbook. The other thing is lots of music. Okay, so that is Talking Headless. And again, you'll see these episodes unveiled tomorrow.
You want to, before we go to the next one, because there's a little bit more to it since it's kicking off tomorrow, did you want to mention one of the shows in the pipeline featuring one of the more popular folks in the Playaz ecosystem, Mr. Bob Stutz?
Yeah, so this one is the first out of the pipeline when we get shows out of the pipeline, right? Which is a quarterly show by, let's say, the most straight shooting individual and one of the most influential individuals in the entire enterprise technology world.
Yeah.
His name is Bob Stutz. He's been there since Siebel. You can, I get called the Godfather of CRM. You could arguably make a case he's the Godfather of CRM technology. That this guy, if he hadn't built what he's built, and he's built it for Siebel, he's built it for SAP, he's built it for Salesforce, and Microsoft. And if you if he hadn't done that, there might not even be a CRM industry. And he is both feared and revered, right? All simultaneously in the industry. I mean, his following is immense. People love hearing what he's got to say because he never, ever candy coats anything. So we have a quarterly show coming up. It'll be called At the End of the Day with Bob Stutz. And you'll understand when you hear the first episode why we said that. And he will just give you the unvarnished view of whatever the hell he's thinking. Now, the one thing I will tell you, there will be a host, but what makes this interesting is Bob gets to pick his own hosts, right? So he's the guest, but he gets to pick the host, right? So it's a unique experiment in that regard, but ultimately you're going to hear Bob Stutz completely, what's the word they always say? What's the word? Bob Stutz unleashed. Bob Stutz unleashed. End of the Day with Bob Stutz coming soon to the PPN network near you.
Yeah, but if the Bills lose today, it might be Bob Stutz unhinged.
Unhinged.
So we don't know. We'll hopefully it's just unleashed. But yeah, that's a good one. All right, moving on.
Why don't you take this one?
Well, actually, you might want to do it because wasn't this kind of your concept?
Well, it's their concept actually more than mine. But so here's the thing. Brent and I, since COVID began, have been running a happy hour. We've done over 130 of them, according to Eventbrite. Now, there's a core group of people in that happy hour who have probably been on more than 100 of those sessions, right? We gave them their own show. It's called In the Hot Seat. It's got, I'd say, around 12 to 15 different hosts. They are going to take on matters that are, let's say, available to disagree with. So, and Silo Wars is the one coming to you tomorrow at 1 p.m. And will be the first live stream episode 1. There's a pilot episode already up that you're welcome to take a look at. But the fascinating thing about this is unique, and I've looked pretty much everywhere. It's the only show I've ever seen that's community hosted of any kind. By the way, that means on regular television. Again, it's possible there are others I'm unaware of because they're terrible shows and I don't want to watch them. But as far as I can tell, this is the only show anywhere that's community hosted. So it's highly experimental, and that's In the Hot Seat.
And the first episode features a mutual friend of ours, right?
Oh, yeah. Adrian Swinsko, who is a wonderful person. The two hosts for tomorrow are Mike. But let me say, Adrian's also out of the UK, extremely influential, especially around CX.
He's a real punk. He's a punk.
You got to read his books, actually. Punk CX. It's fantastic books. They really are, and the illustrations are off the charts. By the way, they're out of this world. Very different take on book when you read it, but the value of those books is enormous. The hosts are actually longtime industry analyst Mike Fawcett, old friend of both of ours, and Dr. Steve LeMay, who, as we have said often, is not only a supply chain thought leader and is a professor at the University of Western Florida, but at the same time, and author of several books on supply chain, but at the same time, the person I've known longest from college. I knew him on day one of my university days at Northwestern. So Steve and Mike will host Adrian, and we'll just see what happens. It's going to be very exciting to see, and I would highly recommend it.
And if that weren't enough for tomorrow, I do have a special A Few Good Minutes coming up with Fortune. You can't just say Fortune. Fortune.
No. Fortune.
Fortune Alexander from Pega. Special, mainly because I think I'm going to be traveling this Wednesday. I'm going to be at Sweet World. So I'm looking forward to a special Few Good Minutes tomorrow after the debut of In the Hot Seat. Wow, we actually sound like a network of sorts.
Yeah, we kind of are. And the other thing is there will be a calendar posted, not at launch, but shortly, with all the dates and times that you can see, whether the show's pre-recorded or live. It will barring special episodes or something, it will launch. It will be available to you on this day at this time. So there is a network show schedule coming very shortly.
By the way, I need to get a headshot like Fortune here because
Well,
that's really nice.
no hope for me to look like that, right?
Okay.
So far past that one.
All right. Well, one quick note. It really doesn't have anything to do with the actual PPN launch, but it's a special one because it comes to us via Facebook memories. And 10 years ago, apparently, I posted this wishing the Greenbergs a happy 31-year anniversary.
Yep.
So if my math is correct, if I posted this 10 years ago, and that was when they were celebrating their 31st year of anniversary or wedded bliss, then today would mark 41 years.
Exactly right.
Bliss. So happy anniversary to both Paul and Yvonne. I call her YG. Yvonne Greenberg, 41 years. How could she put up with you for that long?
I don't have a clue. As far as I know, she really didn't. She just iced me out and left me here. So
41 years. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. She's actually on her way back from Virginia Beach and should be here in a short while.
Well, let her know I said happy anniversary.
I certainly shall.
I was going to do the Flintstones. Happy anniversary.
But happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
All right. So that's the PPN news real quick. Let's just do a little quick because we did just get back from San Francisco for the first time in 3 years for Dreamforce. I love this picture.
Yeah, I know.
You want to explain it?
Yeah. So this is, well, I think you recognize me and Brent pretty quickly. In front, in yellow, looking incredible, is Dr. Geeta Narayan, and called Dr. G at Salesforce. She is Salesforce's chief medical officer. And Brent and I, and in the back is my co-host actually for Engage with Paul and Kenny. That's Kenny Lauer, who is producing the show for us. And he is as I said, the former head of Golden State Warrior marketing. So this is a star-studded cast minus me and Brent.
Absolutely.
Right, with the other two. So, and Brent, you want to just tell her what we were doing with Dr. G?
Yeah, we did a special CRM Playaz episode live from the Salesforce Tower. I think we were on floor 15 or something like that.
Yeah, we're actually in Salesforce CPO David Schmeier's conference room.
So shout out to him for letting us use his conference.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Literally, it was the first time back 3 years. November, it'll be 3 years. I think November 2019 was the last time we were physically at Dreamforce. So it was just cool to be back and to be able to do a show with Dr. G. Next thing is I got to figure out how to do a show with Dr. J, and then I'll have my two favorite doctors covered. But it was really cool. She talked about, there's so many new or emerging safety and health issues since the pandemic, and having a chief medical officer. I think we're going to see more and more of that coming with companies. I don't think I heard about that before the pandemic. I'm sure there were some, but in the technology game, I don't recall it. So
no, I don't at all. I mean, well, the other thing is she is an incredible person. I mean, she actually is a practicing rheumatologist and still keeps her practice while she is doing her technology and engagement work with Salesforce as CMO there, as chief medical officer there, which is amazing. And she's just a great human being too.
And I believe she said she actually had the opportunity to work with or under Dr. Fauci. So that's cool.
Fauci kind of vouched for her.
So we did a show. The audio isn't the best. We're looking to see if we'll be able to clean that up. But even if we are able to clean it up, we're gonna have her back. We're gonna have her on the show,
Yeah.
mainly because it was a little dicey. I mean, it was a great conversation, but we had to ask her the question about favorite football teams. It got a little dicey, but
Yeah.
luckily, the tech on technicalities, she's welcome to come back. Let's put it like
That's right. And she's already agreed to do that.
one other quick pick for me personally. I had an opportunity to meet Lori Castillo Martinez, who is the Chief Equality Officer at Salesforce. I had recently had just a great LinkedIn Live conversation with her a couple of weeks before Dreamforce. And luckily, we were able to make it happen where I can meet her face to face. It's so cool when you're able to meet somebody face to face after you've had such a great conversation, and it was actually better face-to-face conversation than the great conversation for LinkedIn Live. So very cool to meet Lori, and I can't wait to talk with her. You know, the person that we did not get a chance to meet face-to-face that we've been talking to off and on for the last year is Colin Fleming from Salesforce Plus.
Yeah, that was this. I mean, I wish we could have, but there is something we did get to do that I think we'll talk about a little later at another time. Oh, well, I guess there it is right now. That is part of Brent, you talk. Take it away.
So, you know, just a little briefly, we had an opportunity to, we got our own little private tour. It was just for us. It's really cool. We were given the opportunity to go behind the curtains and see how, I was going to say how the sausage was made, but there was really no sausage. It was just great.
Great sausage would have literally ruined all the equipment.
Yeah. No, we got a chance to take a look at Salesforce Plus Studios. It's right across the street, literally right across from the big tower, Salesforce Tower. So we got personally escorted in by Stacy Ramscoff from the market research team. And do you remember the gentleman's name who actually gave us the tour? He's in the picture there.
Blocking it completely.
Right I know. Now. I should have had that, but so
that's him.
Yeah, he gave us a really great tour, personalized tour of the studio, of the kind of the different sets they have. Right there, you're looking kind of at the the mission control center there that they have with a whole bunch of their equipment. And I believe he was telling us that as we were coming in, they were just wrapping up a show. Apparently, yeah, there's part of it. Folks just wrapping up a show. As you can see, so we were behind the scenes. We were able to see what's going on, how the studio's set up, what equipment they're using. They have, they have tons of space, and there's this one. What was you have to say, like 30 or 40 foot green screen?
Yeah, at least.
It's like a whole wall.
Gigantic.
It was awesome. So we had an opportunity to check out some of the stuff behind the scenes there. And as you can see, they have tons and tons of great equipment. The gentleman is actually, he's professionally trained in cinematography and
theater.
And theater. So a lot of these shows, if you notice, they do have a kind of a cinematic feel to them. And it's because they're not just hiring great technicians. Salesforce Plus, and Colin talked about this a little bit when we had him on. They're hiring people who know how to do TV shows.
Exactly. I mean, they're hired from the networks in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
which is what's amazing. They are literally hired from the networks, which is really something. These guys were. No.
Yeah, this is just a shot. This is actually this, which was really kind of interesting. I think both of us. So. This was on the exhibition floor where they were doing their own programs during Dreamforce right on the exhibition floor. And when we were asking about, well, how many sets are you doing right on the floor? He's like, look, hey, that's not even us. That's not part of Salesforce Plus. That's teams that other parts of Salesforce commission to do their own content. And we're like, my God. This, you just imagine all the content and all the people that are a part of this. It goes even beyond the Salesforce Plus studios that we checked out.
It was amazing. It was truly mind blowing, really, at some levels, and minimally incredibly impressive.
By the way, happy Sunday, Christy.
Yeah, as always. Mwah.
Absolutely. We'll be tuning in tomorrow. We're in the hot seat. All right, quick impressions, overall general impressions of Dreamforce.
Well, impressive announcements. Salesforce Genie, which they call a fundamental change to the Salesforce or evolution of the Salesforce platform form, which it may or may not be. We'll see as time goes on. But the concept of Salesforce Genie, which is real-time CRM, meaning as things happen, you can respond in real time, and they can get a response in real time, and you can respond again, and you'll get the AI moving in real time, et cetera, et cetera. They said it was GA. It was already ready to go. That was impressive. The other thing that impressed me no end was the Slack digital headquarters announcement, which I thought was remarkable. That if you actually see it, and it's actually worth investing the time to see it. Because look, I never was a Slack. I didn't love Slack when I first.
You weren't a Slacker?
No, I was definitely not. But I'm really liking what they're doing, and I've been using it now, and I do like it at this point. But they've added what you see so far. You've only seen in Zoom and Teams, but equally, let's call it maybe even more collaborative than Zoom, and minimally equally, if not more collaborative than Teams. Right? Added in to the mix in Slack, and it was very impressive. And finally, 40,000 people came. Okay, that was the largest event in San Francisco since COVID started, right? So all in all, incredible. And thank you to the market strategy team, all of you, for making our stay incredibly welcome, making us feel incredibly welcome, taking care of everybody, which was a big task, and still keeping your constant smiles on your faces while we were all bogging the hell out of you, right? So we really appreciate what you did. So that's kind of where I'll leave it for now. What about you?
So the thing that you're kind of picking up off of that, when you haven't been somewhere in 3 years and the world has kind of changed in between, you really don't know what to expect, even from something that you've been to over and over and over again. There's 3 years in between, and things have happened. So I went into last week with a lot of, I don't know if apprehension is the word, but a lot of uncertainty, maybe.
Yeah.
And the thing that immediately brought you back to feeling comfortable were the familiar faces. And so it was nice to see the Ann Chins, the Stacey Ramsacos, the Anita Chungs, the Stacey Ramscott. I mean, all of these folks that we have grown very comfortable with and familiar with. It was great that after 3 years and coming in to San Francisco and seeing physically, it didn't look quite the same as it did before. It was very comforting to come back to a group of folks who you knew, and it made it. And then all the other people that we know, as part of our colleagues of doing these events. So that was an immediate lift for me. And then I think from kind of the announcements and from the overall, kind of histrionics of Dreamforce, it was definitely not as big a buildup as in years past. It didn't. I'm sure because once again, it was the first time in 3 years where they cranked it back up. And so it came in with less fanfare. But I have to tell you, I think the announcements were actually bigger than the fanfare was. Sometimes the fanfare outstrips the announcements.
Yeah.
This year was completely different. I think Genie is huge, or has the potential to be huge.
Right.
You mentioned Slack. The thing about Genie, the one thing they really kind of missed the ball on, they didn't have the pricing set up. They weren't able to answer some really basic questions around pricing. And that kind of took a little edge off of the announcement, because really I think it was Brett Taylor, and I think it was probably said a number of times by Salesforce executives, they looked at Genie as the biggest structural development to the platform since 2004 or 5.
Yeah.
And I can believe it, because when you think about all the acquisitions that have been made in between 2005 and now, I mean, pretty much the bulk of all their acquisitions took place in that time period. All that infrastructure had to be pulled together somehow to make it easier for this data to flow. And that's Genie. And so it is a big deal. I think it's a big development. And they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on the pricing, handling the pricing. That's the only this whole thing.
And apparently every single analyst jumped on their case on the pricing at the same time. It was hilarious, actually, like watching the analysts, all of us. Like, I didn't particularly ask the question, but it was part of our discussion during the watch party. We all talked about it there, but there were, when the analysts in the room were asking questions about, what about pricing? Oh, okay, that's good. And what about pricing? And how about pricing? So you're going to do pricing? Right. I mean, that was pretty much 90% of the question. The other thing, if I'm nitpicking, and this is a little nitpicky, at one point, Brett Taylor said, you know, we're not a company, we're a community. Right. And I don't like when I hear those things, because the reality is they are a company and a $31 billion community. Right. And they have a community. Trailblazers are a community, and they are a genuine, real community. Yeah. But Salesforce is a company. Don't start throwing. I think once Keith Block did something very similar. You know, he said, we don't care about revenue. Well, of course you do, right? I mean, come on, you're a company. Don't for the sake of marketing, don't just make these silly statements that nobody actually believes anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure the shareholders care about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're all no, because they just wanted the community.
Gigantic community. Yeah, I remember that. But in one other, I think it's really interesting statement, because we're so long into CRM. I think it was Brett Taylor that said that CRM is finally what it should have been all along, in terms of being able to actually fully understand, you know, the customer needs in real time, because of kind of some of the stuff that they're talking about. I think we're getting closer. That still doesn't mean that people know how to use the information.
Right.
And I mean, with it.
I think he doesn't know the history of CRM the way you and I do, right? Or probably or even the way Mark does. But CRM was never just technology, not to us.
Not
right.
To us. It was to some people, yeah, but it
ended up becoming that.
Right.
But CRM's promise, if you're going all the way back, was strategy. It was programs. It was a much bigger thing. That's now taken over a little bit by engagement and CX and stuff. It was kind of donned the crown after it was passed on by CRM, which decided to retire to become a technology and a system. So anyway, but it was all in all, I'm very happy I went. I am very glad to see these kind of announcements, which I thought were very important and incredibly valuable, and will have a lot of impact if executed really well. And it was just wonderful seeing, as you said, Ann and Stacy and Anita and the whole, and John Tashik and Steve Gilmore and the whole market strategy team was just wonderful.
All right. Well, it's almost time for the Rams, so we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, right. We got 15 minutes.
Once again, tomorrow, PPN in the hot seat, 1 p.m. Eastern. Man, it's kind of exciting.
Watch for the launch. I'm going to say the official launch will be around noon. Yeah, but don't count on it. It'll be tomorrow. That's all I'll say.
Here's one question for you. Do all the PPN shows have to end like this?
Only this one.
All right, folks. We'll see you later this week.